Hi there ladies and gentlemen, this is Eastwood for Life fan back with another recent viewings video, and it's recent lockdown viewings I should say, because these are all the movies and TV series that I've watched since March, April and May. And as most countries around the world try to get back to some form of normality, but yeah, watched quite a stack of movies. You know, I did have at least 7 weeks off work, not of my choice, but we'll get to the DVDs that I watched first, and some of these are re-watches and first time views. The first one's a John Wayne movie, The Quiet Man. I thought I had seen this, but I don't think I have. This John Ford movie where John Wayne, he plays a retired US heavyweight boxer who returns to his original birthplace in Ireland, where he meets up a red-headed woman played by Maureen O'Hara. More of a romantic kind of comedy movie, this one. A little bit different seeing John Wayne in this role rather than his more sort of hero-like rugged roles, but it was okay. Not the sort of John Wayne movie that I would come back and watch over and over again, as he plays Sean Thornton. But yeah, pretty decent John Wayne movie, directed by John Ford, as he made quite a few movies with the legendary director. A great collaboration, the two of them. A couple of Burt Reynolds movies. This one's I've always had a soft spot for. Lucky Lady, mid-70s movie set in the 30s in the Prohibition time, where you get the likes of Liza Minnelli, Gene Hackman and Burt Reynolds, where they play these alcohol bootleggers and they try to stay a couple of steps ahead of the law. Yeah, pretty decent comedy and quite violent for a comedy movie, this one. I would love to see this one get a Blu-ray release of this one. Not too sure there is one in the UK and the US. Maybe there's one in Germany, but yeah, this movie was actually talked about that they wanted Steven Spielberg to direct this movie. Paul Newman and Warren Beatty were possible leading actors that they wanted, but they had to settle for Gene Hackman and Burt Reynolds, and it works well because the two of them do really pair off well together. Not a big fan of Liza Minnelli, but her role in this acceptable and not too bad. But yeah, a great sort of action crime comedy, this one, Lucky Lady. If you haven't seen this one, definitely a Burt Reynolds and Gene Hackman movie to watch. Yeah, great movie, this one, very good, Lucky Lady. And another Burt Reynolds movie that was one of his most popular ones in the 70s, The Longest Yard. This was a revisit, watching this one again. Big fan of this movie, where Burt Reynolds, he's an American football star who has got to serve a prison sentence, and then he gets asked to coach a team of inmates to play the prison warden's team of guards. And yeah, fun movie, this one, The Longest Yard. I know they made a remake of this, but very rare is it as good as the original. But yeah, The Longest Yard, really enjoyed revisiting this Burt Reynolds classic movie from the 70s, when he was a real big star in the 70s, Burt Reynolds. The next 4 movies are giallo movies that I've never seen before. Dario Argento and Sergio Martino movies, 2 of the biggest directors in giallo movies. The first one is part of the Animal trilogy of movies. This one's 4 Flies on Grey Velvet, starring American actor Michael Brandon. I always remembered him in the TV series Dempsey and Makepeace. This one he plays a rock star, well I should say more musician, a drummer who accidentally kills somebody by mistake only to get stalked and blackmailed. But very slick and stylish giallo movie, this one, with a good ending. Didn't quite see that as the ending. Yeah, very good Dario Argento giallo movie. Not one of the better ones that I've seen from him on this one, but yeah, a good one. I am pretty sort of hit and miss with giallo movies, but this was an entertaining one, and it did keep me on the edge of my seat because yeah, kept me guessing, and that keeps me entertained rather than knowing what's going to happen next. Next three movies are Sergio Martino giallo movies, and I tend to think that his giallo movies are a little bit more gorier than Dario Argento. I consider his movies, Argento's movies, more stylish. But this one, The Case of the Scorpion's Tail, starring George Hilton. This one's a good storyline where you get a millionaire. He dies in a plane crash, leaving a sizable fortune for his unfaithful wife, and then the case gets kind of there's a case where they think it's a little bit suspicious, where the insurance company suspects that foul play may have happened, and they send in an investigator played by George Hilton. But yeah, very good ending this one. I didn't see the ending of this one coming. Probably better than the Four Flies on the Grey Velvet. I preferred this one, but yeah, pretty good giallo movie. Not as good as The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, which is another great Sergio Martino giallo movie. But yeah, very good one, this one, The Case of the Scorpion's Tail. And another one from the early 70s. This is Your Vice is a Locked Room, Only I Have the Key. Yeah, a long title. Stars Edwin Fenwick, and very known for being a sex bomb in a lot of these giallo movies. But Miss Fenwick doesn't turn up till kind of like the last 2/3 of the movie. This one, a drunk and burnt out writer living in his own mansion. He becomes the main suspect of a few women get killed around the area. But yeah, okay, this one, not one of Sergio Martino's better ones, this one, but guys, if you've seen this one, you probably agree with me. The black cat that's kind of witnessing a lot of the murders, or around the scene of a lot of the murders, was pretty damn annoying in this one, in Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. Sergio Martino giallo movie. The last giallo movie that I watched, this one is Torso, another Sergio Martino giallo movie. This one from 1973, excellent giallo movie, probably the most brutal one I've seen from Martino. Yeah, very good one about a killer. It goes around in a red and black scarf, goes on a killing spree, and kills off a lot of university students, mostly attractive young women. Very kind of like a stylish, sexy, stunning, erotic giallo movie. You do get some brutal kills, and a lot of attractive women get killed off, which is disappointing in one way, if you catch my drift. But you do get the gorgeous looking Susan Kendall in this one, also Luke Miranda and John Richardson, who always appeared in a lot of Italian movies, but this one, very good giallo movie, and I put it up there with The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward. Very good giallo movie, this one. So yeah, guys, if you do like your brutal giallo movies a little bit more than the stylish ones, then this one is a must watch and must have. Torso, you'll love it to pieces. A slasher remake. This one's Maniac. First time I'd ever watched this. Love the original one with Joe Spinell, directed by William Lustig. And this one, it was passable. It's kind of more of a glossier version of Maniac. I've got to be honest, Elijah Wood I didn't think would carry the role out well, but yeah, he made a believer out of me. But yeah, not a bad remake, but not as good as the original Maniac movie from 1980, and that one had a very dark and grimy New York feel to the movie, but this one's actually set in Los Angeles. But yeah, it was okay. And a movie, a classic. I know you guys are going to hate me for this. Third attempt to watch this movie, The Usual Suspects. Probably one of the most talked about finales in movies in the 90s. This one, fantastic cast. But I got to be honest, it's okay. It's a good movie. I just wasn't a fan of it. Kind of a crime mystery noir movie. It's obviously well made, a great cast, a well thought out, but it's just, in my opinion, I've seen better crime thrillers than this, and would prefer, you know, like the likes of Jackie Brown, off the top of my head, more than this movie. But yeah, I did like the role of Stephen Baldwin. And also Kevin Spacey is fantastic in this movie, I got to be honest. But yeah, I just wasn't a lover of this movie, and I wouldn't say it's overrated, but just not a movie that I would watch over and over again. But it's a good movie and well made. Glad that I finally watched The Usual Suspects. And the last of the DVDs, I revisited Jackie Brown for the second time, and actually preferred watching this second time round than the first time, and for sure I will be upgraded onto Blu-ray. Tarantino movie, this one, with a fantastic cast. Kind of gets overlooked a little bit because when this one came out, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction were considered better movies, but outstanding selection of actors and actresses in this movie, well thought out, and I really enjoyed seeing Pam Grier in this one. And obviously you guys would have seen this movie, well known Tarantino movie, which I am looking forward to upgrading to a nice Blu-ray edition of Jackie Brown. Excellent movie. Cronenberg movie, Existenz, a 1999 David Cronenberg movie starring Jennifer Jason Leigh and Jude Law. I actually think this movie is going to be better on a few extra viewings of this one. This one's set in the future, about a game designer who's on the run, fearing her life from assassins. Kind of gives you that feel that you don't know what's going on, and it kind of adds up towards the end of the movie. Great idea. I was kind of a little bit left sort of wondering what the hell was going on, but then it does make sense towards the end of the movie. But great idea for this one. Do like that headline: play it, live it, kill for it. Yeah. So will I upgrade it to Blu-ray? Possibly, because it is pretty entertaining movie, and the storyline is a great one. The last DVD is a Sylvester Stallone movie, Avenging Angelo. Sylvester Stallone and Madeline Stowe. This one kind of flopped, and the way that this movie is advertised in the trailer, and just by looking at it on the DVD cover, you'd think it would be a crime action movie, but it's actually a crime comedy movie where Madeline Stowe, she finds out who her real father was, a former murdered mafia boss, and Sly Stallone, who plays the long time bodyguard of the mafia boss who got taken out, played by Anthony Quinn in his last movie role. But yeah, this movie could have been a whole lot better if it had a slightly bigger budget, probably a better director, and the laughs could have been a whole lot better. I mean, it had potential with the idea in this one. It's not quite like Analyze This, but yeah, it was a pretty good watch. I was actually expecting a lot worse from this, if I'm really honest, but then I'm a bit of a Stallone fan. Maybe I'm slightly a little bit biased, but yeah, entertaining movie, Avenging Angelo. Onto the Blu-rays now, and all these are horror movies. These next few movies revisited the Blob remake, late 80s horror sci-fi movie. Sometimes when you revisit movies, you kind of worry that movies that you did like before, that you'd seen many years ago, won't be nowhere near as good. But this one, real fun horror sci-fi movie, this one, and it's very rare when you get to say that remakes are better than the original, but that is not the case with the late 80s version of the Blob. Great Scream Factory US release of this. You get loads of extras, and probably the best way to watch this movie, the Blob. Fantastic movie, that one. Carrying on with my Friday the 13th viewing. The last Friday the 13th movie I watched was part 5, A New Beginning, which I really didn't enjoy. Found it too comedic. Didn't like the copycat killer sort of storyline. But part 6, Jason Lives, and actually I really enjoyed this one. Thought it was really an entertaining one. Yeah, maybe the beginning where Jason Voorhees kind of comes back to life in the graveyard is a little bit over far-fetched, but yeah, Jason, good to see him on his slashing best, and I thought it was a pretty entertaining slasher movie. Yeah, not one of the worst by any means, and I'm looking forward to watching part 7, which I think it's going to be The New Blood, and then I've also got Jason Takes Manhattan. But yeah, I really enjoyed part 6, Jason Lives. John Carpenter movie that I've never seen before, Vampires. This one, late 90s vampire movie, obviously. Not a big lover of vampire movies, but this one, highly entertaining, a lot of fun, where you get a team of vampire slayers headed by James Woods. His team gets taken out, and then James Woods has got to try and take on the vampire clan. But yeah, so I actually didn't realise he was going to be in this movie, James Woods, but yeah, fine actor James Woods, and yeah, a lot of fun and a lot of gore in this one, Vampires. It's not a John Carpenter classic, obviously, but it was entertaining and a good watch. Next one is a Spanish-American slasher movie set in the 80s, Edge of the Axe. passable slasher movie, this one, about a axe murderer who goes on a killing spree in a small mountain town community. Then you get two teenagers where they try and sort of solve the crime. And this one's actually filmed in Madrid in Spain, and to make it look a little bit like northern California, and they did a pretty good job on a pretty limited budget, this one, Edge of the Axe. But just the killer does have a sort of fairly unique look. He wears a mask, obviously, and he goes around in a long dark trench coat, but it's not a slasher horror classic by any means, but it's passable and a pretty good entertaining watch. The ending had me a little bit surprised. I didn't actually see that one coming, but yeah, not a bad one. Although this one's kind of like a horror movie, I consider it more of a home invasion movie. This one, Don't Breathe. Well thought out movie, this one, where you get a trio of young burglars try to do one big last job when they enter a blind man's fortress, expecting to run away with a big fortune. But yeah, he is well equipped for the burglars. Don't Breathe, yeah, entertaining one, this one. I enjoyed this one. I wouldn't go along with that headline, best horror film in 20 years. Why do they do that? Because it's not, but it's a pretty good one and worth checking out. Don't Breathe. Last horror movie that I watched, this one's Howl, a kind of like a werewolf siege movie on a train, a British werewolf movie. Enjoyable one, this one. Yeah, no, it's not as the headline says, the greatest werewolf movie since American Werewolf in London. Enjoyable, entertaining it was, even though the werewolves kind of looked more human than animal-like. Has a claustrophobic feel to the movie when this a werewolf or several werewolves attacks a broken down train that's set in the UK. An okay werewolf movie, but it's no classic. Next movie is a gangster movie from the 90s, The King of New York. This was a revisit of this one, starring Christopher Walken, where he plays New York drugs overlord Frank White, where he gets released from prison and plans to take back and control the community, the criminal world of his community. Fantastic movie when you realise the cast that is in this movie. You have the likes of David Caruso, Lawrence Fishburne, Wesley Snipes, and also Steve Buscemi. But I do rate Christopher Walken as an actor. Obviously not one of his best acting performances, but yeah, he does look believable as a gangster in this one, in The King of New York. Next one's Terence Hill and Bud Spencer movie, Odds and Evens. Late 70s comedy, slapstick comedy movie, action comedy movies that they did. Not one of my favourite ones, this one, where they take on a gang of illegal sort of bookmakers that arrange a lot of the sort of gambling odds in big events in Florida. Only until Terence Hill and Bud Spencer, they are willing to take on the bookmakers in Florida. But yeah, rather a tad on the silly and a little bit long for a comedy. This one was nearly 2 hours long in Odds and Evens. The next movie is The Tough Ones, as it's known in the US, but it's actually more known as Rome Armed to the Teeth, a 1976 Eurocrime movie directed by Umberto Lenzi, starring Maurizio Merli and also Thomas Milian. Now, Maurizio Merli, if you've ever watched any of the Eurocrime movies, he's kind of like the Clint Eastwood of the Eurocrime movies. Done many classic Eurocrime movies where he normally plays a cop that takes no shit, and he does bend the rules to get results. And in this movie you have a crazed hunchback played by Thomas Milian. He's wanted for many crimes in Rome, and guys, if you love your cop action movies and never seen any Eurocrime movies, then do give these Eurocrime movies an attempt, because the good thing that you get with these Italian movies, they really do know how to film great car chases and action scenes. And Umberto Lenzi, although he was well known for giallo and horror movies, he was probably one of the best directors in the Eurocrime genre. But fantastic Eurocrime movie, this one, and it also has Arthur Kennedy and also Ivan Razumov in this one. Highly violent movie this one is, with Maurizio Merli and Thomas Milian. And an excellent release by Grindhouse Releasing of The Tough Ones, aka Rome Armed to the Teeth. Next movie is Asian cinema. First time I've ever watched this one. Hard Boiled, a John Woo movie. And wow, John Woo, I have seen his American movies, but his Asian movies, he definitely raised the bar in how action movies, how they are to be filmed. Very stylish, unique way of filming action scenes. This one, you get a cop who goes after a gun smuggling mobsters. For the first hour, didn't put a foot wrong. Enjoyed the opening shootout scene in the takeaway restaurant, and also the showdown in the warehouse. But when it got to the finale in the hospital, when you've got patients and newly born babies, it was a little bit far-fetched for me. But yeah, great action scenes filmed. I just kind of like my action movies to be a little bit not so silly like the last 20 minutes was in this movie Hard Boiled, but very violent and entertaining watch, this one. And another Asian movie which had me absolutely numb when I got to the ending of this movie, Old Boy, which is a first time watch for me. This one, a man gets imprisoned for 15 years and then he gets released. Then he has 5 days to seek the truth and why he was imprisoned for 15 years. Real fantastic and brutal twisted storyline where he seeks vengeance, the guy who gets locked up, this guy here, and then he has a female accomplice to kind of help him out in solving and getting to the bottom of why he was in prison for 15 years as he tries to find out the kidnappers. But yeah, very twisted movie, this one, and it's not often when I watch a movie that I kind of get a little bit shocked and have a numb feeling of what I've just seen. But this one, Old Boy, was an absolute fantastic movie and a great entry into Asian cinema. Old Boy, a great movie, this one. Probably might consider picking up the Arrow Collector's edition, because that does have the English dub and this one doesn't. But great movie, this one, Old Boy. Magnificent it certainly was. Love my boxing movies. Never seen this one before, the Cinderella Man. Obviously I do know about the Cinderella Man. It's about the story of James J. Braddock, played by Russell Crowe, set in the 30s in the Great Depression, and he gets a shot at the title against Max Baer, a journeyman. Great boxing movie, this one, directed by Ron Howard, who's a very good director, and the performances definitely match the movie. Beautifully shot and well made, starring Russell Crowe and Renée Zellweger. This one, really enjoyed this movie, and I actually borrowed this movie off a friend of mine, so I definitely will be picking this one up. Cinderella Man, a very good and underrated boxing movie. And talking of boxing, this is I Am Duan, a boxing documentary about the 4 times world champion from Panama, Hands of Stone, Manos de Piedra. You do get the likes of movie stars appearing in this, Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone, as well as boxing greats who talk about the career of one of the greatest lightweight fighters in history, Roberto Duran. And if you love your boxing and you like your sporting documentaries, then this is definitely worth picking up. I Am Duan. And the last thing that I watched is season 7 of The Walking Dead, and another great season of this, where Rick and his remaining survivors are in real threat as they kind of work for Negan and the Saviors, as they basically run all the factions and communities nearby. You know, the likes of the Kingdom, Alexandra and the Hilltop. And then Rick and his remaining survivors try to sort of come up with some resistance against Negan and his powerful saviors. But yeah, a great opening couple of episodes where you get some of the top characters get killed off, and yeah, another great season of The Walking Dead. And the character of Negan, probably one of the best characters in the series so far, without a doubt. So another great season of The Walking Dead, season 7. So guys, that is all the movies and TV series that I've watched. I didn't include any westerns because they will be reviewed and featured in my Westerns for Life series, so I've got quite a few videos of that to put up. But guys, let us know your thoughts on all the movies and the odd TV series that I watched in the lockdown months. Hope you guys are coming out of it safely. So guys, till the next video, stay healthy and well, and as always, keep on watching movies and collecting physical media.